This is Newcap News with Kelsea Bloxam.
Businesses along this stretch say they haven't been impacted by detours or delays as of yet, but just down the road in the heart of Phase 1 are businesses still struggling as the project falls weeks behind schedule. Enbridge as well as TransCanada Corporation are fighting regulatory as well as very strong public concerns regarding their wishes to expand their pipeline network. Now, the temperature on my phone tells me that it's 27 degrees, but just from standing out here, it feels a lot hotter than that. And there's a reason for it. Canadian troops are set to pull out of Afghanistan in 2 years' time. But recently, Prime Minister Stephen Harper said he would examine all options before the 2014 deadline. The troops have just finished off the second of 3 training exercises that will happen today. Just in behind me, they're doing a debrief. That's where they talk about what went well, what went wrong, and what they need to improve on.
This was the dramatic scene earlier this morning. A 54-year-old man trying to engage officers. First, firing a flare gun from his left hand, holding a pellet gun in the other.
You know what, it's absolutely amazing that the police officers that responded there quickly recognized that it was a pellet type gun and that it wasn't an actual loaded handgun. And as a result of that, very fortunate that this individual was not shot.
Shell casings litter the ground beside a small duffel bag.
Well, I can tell you that he ended up grabbing some ammunition that was in a bag that he had with him, and when he wasn't shot by police, then he picked up the ammunition and just kind of threw it down the alley at us. And
the suspect then flees in a gray rental car.
There is a uniform pursuit that was initiated shortly after that, and the pursuit ended after about 4 or 5 blocks where the suspect was lost. And in the end, the suspect ended up coming back and tried to get into the Saskatchewan courthouse and was in the front lobby area and was seen by the guard, and it was called out by the guard. And then we approached, and he was arrested at gunpoint without any further incident.
Michelle Shigelski was a vibrant 26-year-old, recently married only 6 weeks ago. For her great uncle here in Lloydminster, it was a morning he never could have imagined.
The thing that caught my attention is the words that one female employee was shot.
Immediately calling Shigelski's father Peter, hoping it wasn't her. But that wasn't the case. Hearing for the first time 4 words he would never forget. Michelle has been shot.
Let's tell the Wild Rose that real leadership is about making decisions to save lives, because 300 Albertans will never have another date night.
Hearing the ad for the first time, this Wild Rose candidate says the ad shows just how disconnected Premier Redford is from Albertans.
We've knocked on about 4,000 doors, and the one thing that I haven't met anyone yet that likes is this negative stuff in politics.
The local PC candidate, however, says people can call it what they want.
Well, it can be viewed that way. I think it's an ad that highlights the difference in approach between 2 parties.
The ad targets the Wild Rose stance on the province's new drunk driving law. The opposition has been campaigning to repeal it since the law was passed, calling it a violation of civil rights. For the past 18 months, the Lloydminster Hospital has doubled as a construction site, with extensive work being done to improve the aging building.
The noise was unbelievable. It was very hard on a lot of staff. We physically took our nursing desk and moved it around the corner down the hallway, and we were on plywood tables.
Inconveniences that were inevitable for a project of this size inside a facility open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And we know that going into this kind of renovation.
Work was done to improve and expand the emergency and admitting departments, including 4 new beds used for both ambulatory care and as a fast track for patients more seriously ill.
It allows us to move patients through the ER a lot faster, simply because we have redesigned the department quite significantly to facilitate the patient flow.
Preston looks just like any other 6-year-old boy. He likes to run around, play with his brother, and just be a kid. It was back in January when this family's life took a turn.
He was stuck up on his tippy toes and couldn't get off, kind of like he had two Charlie horses in both legs, right? But basically he was stuck that way for about a day and a half, where he couldn't bend his ankles whatsoever. The school called and we took him to emergency here.
She says eventually the effects of Duchenne will take over his entire body.
Knowing at this point that there isn't a treatment or a cure is very hard to swallow as a mom.
So we got the base built.
Bruce McFadden has been at this for so long he doesn't even really know when it all started. Let's just say 10 years plus. He has building these bird boxes down to a science. No measurements needed.
When you build 6 a day, it don't take long to get a lot built. It's more difficult finding a place to put them up.
Made almost completely out of recycled materials, Bruce says he's a regular dumpster diver. And over the years, his hobby has raised almost $120,000 for various charities.
But that's nothing to what we're going to do when we sell the big number for SARS ambulance.
Close to making box number 12,000, Bruce's sights are set on selling 1,000 bird boxes for $100 each, all going to the STARS ambulance branch in Saskatoon. It's the 6th time the transplant games have been held here in Canada. It's an event many who were close to not seeing another day now cherish. For Greg Naddick, competing in the games for the first time has been a big part of his recovery.
On December 22nd last year, received a kidney transplant. I've been on dialysis for 2 years and 2 months, so about 26 months. I was on the waiting list all that time, waiting for a transplant, so it was just a wonderful Christmas gift.
A few hundred competed in the games, taking part in events like 10-pin bowling, golfing, swimming, and a run.
To see the courage that people have fought through a very debilitating disease, and to be able to come through that and be positive and optimistic and trying new things.
Getting involved only after talking with a lifelong friend who also received a kidney transplant 8 years ago from her own brother. Maple Battaglia, a talented artist, aspiring model, never able to see her dreams come true. A young life taken too soon.
And that's what's left of my sister.
A family visibly broken, and yet able to find strength in the memories they have. Her sister Rosaline takes us back to the place where their lives and the life of Maple changed forever.
My sister was taken away from me wrongfully. She's not resting in peace. She died here. She was supposed to be the face of Central City for modeling, for everything. She died an unjust death. So I will knock on every door, every politician, every community member through social media and whatever means I have to get this case enough attention to make it high profile so the laws change. I can't bring back my baby sister, but I can possibly pass on the message that violence against women is unacceptable. Because if these people aren't behind bars, then they're going to get away with getting rid of other people's daughters and sons. You think the community's ever going to be safe if people just stay silent?
Silent is one thing she'll never be able to be. Now acting as a messenger for her sister.
What she would want is she promoted love. That's all she did was love everyone. And that's the best justice, is love. You give everyone love, and God sees that. You know, I'm a firm believer in God and higher faith, and we don't want to promote violence with violence. We don't believe in eye for an eye. Who are we to take someone's life because someone played God with a gun with her? If we did the same thing, what does that make us then?
As time goes by, the community support continues to pour in, giving Rosaline confidence she'll find justice for her little sister.
Catch Us and Them, a grassroots theatrical performance which draws on inspiration from the Vancouver riots as well as Occupy Wall Street. The show on November the 4th, the Vancouver Aquarium is hosting Toast to the Coast, an annual fundraiser in support of the conservation of our waterways and aquatic life.
Hello and welcome to the Vancouver Pride Parade and of course to the travel show. I'm your host Kelsea Bloxam and I am so excited to be here. This year it's even bigger and better than last year when we saw 64,000 people here. I'm standing here with two lovely ladies, and what are you guys doing here today? And people lined up mid-afternoon just to get it.